What's up, guys? Nathan here. I apologize in advance. I'm a little bit sick today, or at least my throat is sore or something, so I'm sorry if I sound a little bit off. I also have a new microphone, probably a combination of all those things, but anyway, I wanted to put this video out because yesterday I set myself the goal of buying a headhunter. The reason why I set this goal is because I really want to reroll, but I have no idea what to reroll into, so I figured I'd set myself a really lofty, expensive goal that I could sort of chase while thinking about what next build I want to play. So, keeping with the theme of this new goal that basically involves making as much currency as possible, I figured I would put out a video talking about some of the mid-level currency making methods that I'm using right now to try to acquire a headhunter. When I say mid-level progression, I would define mid-level as saying you have a build that can run around 90% of content in the game, you've done the majority of the Atlas, you're at least at 100 plus bonus level completion, you have the majority of your watchstones, and you've killed Cyrus once or twice. I would also define mid-level as having a, finite amount of liquid currency that you're ready to invest. I'm not talking mirrors of currency, but I am saying maybe a couple hundred chaos or just a few exalts, sort of just chilling in your currency stash tab, and you're not 100% sure how you want to invest it, but you know you want to make some currency. So there will also be a couple more requirements, but those are going to vary greatly on a method by method basis, so I'll tackle those as they come up. So without further ado, sit back and relax, and let's talk about how to make currency. The first method that I have for you guys today is called Gilded Legion Scarabs. Now, before I even get into talking about what this method is and how it works, here are the requirements. First of all, you need to be mapping actively with Awakened Sextants. If you're running red maps at this point, like tier 14 plus, there's a high chance you're already doing this, but if you're not using Awakened Sextants or not using Sextants at all, well, one, you should probably be doing this if you're trying to make currency, and two, this method really won't work out as well for you. In fact, it will be a third as effective and you will lose more money than you will make in all likelihood. Secondly, you need to have at least 140 plus Atlas bonus completion. This is a bit of a steep requirement for some players, but if you've been playing consistently since the league start, you should be pretty close, at least at that 100, 120 plus mark, and then you can just go through and fill in whatever extra unique maps or rare maps that manage to get away that are probably just rotting away in your map stash tab right now, waiting for you to run. And last but not least, you need a strong mapping build. I cannot emphasize this enough, because if you are not using a really strong mapping build, there's a high chance you will not break out all of the mobs you need to break out from the Legion encounters to make this method profitable. So if you meet all of those requirements, then you're ready to get started on using Gilded Legion Scarabs. Really quick, let's talk about exactly what a Gilded Legion Scarab does. If you take a really quick look and you read exactly what it says on the Scarab itself, it says it adds an additional Legion Timeless Monolith to your map, and it guarantees that each Legion that spawns will have a General and a Warhorde. Now, whenever you click a Timeless Monolith, you're guaranteed to get at least 2 armies. Each army is a Legion, which means you're guaranteed by using a Gilded Legion Scarab to get at least 2 Generals and 2 Warhordes. Apparently, you can get more Legions per monolith, but I feel like that might be bugged this patch or something, because I've really only seen 2 armies / Legions spawn per monolith. I remember back in Legion League, you could get multiple armies per Timeless Monolith, but I haven't seen that a lot. So as far as I'm concerned, 1 Gilded Legion Scarab equals 2 Generals and 2 Warhordes. Now, in case you didn't play Legion League or you're not sure how big of a deal this is, Warhordes are basically the massive chests that spawn with icons over them, denoting the fact that they're going to have some kind of additional loot. When you click on them, you get a bunch of splinters, and then you kind of get an increased quantity of the amount of loot that it says it would have over it normally. So basically, Warhordes are the really exciting chests that you get during Legion encounters. Generals, which you are probably also familiar with, are the very beefy mobs that will spawn at either end of the Legion encounter, and you'll also get a really nice sort of purple smearing effect on the ground coming out of the Timeless Monolith, telling you if they spawn, and if you kill them, you're going to be absolutely showered in splinters. So both of these things, Warhordes and Generals, are the most sought after aspects of Legion encounters. At this point, I'm sure a lot of you guys are saying like, wow, this is fantastic, Nathan. I can't wait to get started. You're going on to pathofexile.com/trade. You're looking them up, and you're seeing that these things run around 24 to 30 chaos per Scarab. And you're like, well, this isn't exciting. I don't want to spend, 25 chaos per map just to get an additional 2 Generals or 2 Warhordes. That's almost not going to be worth it at all unless I roll a Marquette every single time. And the truth of the matter is, you'd be right, but that's where the next part of this method comes in. The key takeaway here is that if you read the Scarab closely, you realize that it says that it's going to spawn an additional general and warhorde per legion per monolith. And that means if you can get additional monoliths on your map, each of those monoliths will be juiced up to have the additional 2 generals and 2 warhordes guaranteed. Now, the way we can really take advantage of it is 2 additional ways. First of all, when you're rolling your sextants, you're just mapping, you're playing the game, there is a slightly uncommon sextant mod that adds an additional timeless monolith to your maps. You know, this lasts 3 maps long. It's a sextant. You guys know how those work. When you roll that, that guarantees an additional timeless monolith. As you can probably guess, this stacks up perfectly with the Gilded Legion Scarab, and all of a sudden that 24 chaos, 25 chaos you were paying for that Gilded Legion Scarab is now paid you back double just because you're getting that additional timeless monolith on your map. But wait, it actually doesn't stop here. If you're at 140 plus Atlas bonus completion, you can also use the Legion map device mod from Zana. This costs a measly 6 chaos and it adds an additional timeless monolith to your map. This is already fantastic on its own. Honestly, if you're running high tier maps regularly and you have a build that can really handle these beefy Legion encounters at high tier maps, I think you should probably just be using this mod anyway because it's so damn good. But if you couple it with a Gilded Legion Scarab, the Sextant, and a map build that can really just clear all of these efficiently, you're looking at spending around 30 chaos, 35 chaos per map, and getting back 6 generals and 6 warhordes. In the background here, I've been playing back some footage of me doing this yesterday on my stream, and as you can see, I'm getting quite a lot of good stuff. If you're not really familiar with the prices of Legion Splinters, this may not look super exciting, but after I was all done, I mapped out a little bit, and even though I was also investing in a Harbinger Sextant mod that I managed to roll at the same time, I was making back an additional 24 chaos per map from Splinters alone. That's ignoring all Harbinger related stuff, and every other mod that I put on the map, I was investing around 50 plus chaos per map, and I was making back like 60 chaos or 70 chaos per map. I don't know the exact numbers now, and it's kind of hard to figure out because it's been a day and I don't remember, but point is, it is next to impossible not to make your money back from the Splinters alone. And once you get all your Splinters, you get to be excited about all of the raw currency, the incubators, and just the other cool stuff that Legions can drop. I even got a raw Exalt from just running these for 3 maps in a row. It's really hard to understate just how powerful and fun running with these Gilded Legion Scarabs are. And at their current price, I'd say they're absolutely worth it if you can get that Sextant mod and that map device on it as well. And really the last thing that I want to say today in regards to Gilded Legion Scarabs is, unlike any of the other moneymakers that I have for you, this is very much a Path of Exile at its core moneymaker. You're just steamrolling through mobs, you're mapping really fast, you're playing the game fast, and it's really a lot of fun. Unlike the other moneymakers that require you to slow down, do a little bit of market research, really all this requires you to do is be a little bit invested in your build, a little bit invested in your Atlas, hit that Sextant mod, and then bam, you're going to have a ton of fun for the next 3 maps. The second method that I have for you today is VAAL Wins. VAAL Wins is an oldie but a goodie, and anybody who's been playing this game for any significant length of time is probably rolling their eyes right now, but trust me, VAAL Wins is in a great place right now. The requirements to actually interact with this prophecy is really just 2 things, but they're very important. First of all, you need a build with excellent control over your damage output, and I'm serious about this. If you're playing minions, if you're playing specters, zombies, anything that just goes through and indiscriminately murders everything within 2 screens of you can't play that. It's not going to work. The second thing you need is patience. And this sounds like kind of an obvious thing, but the truth of the matter is a lot of us learn to map in an efficient and fast way where we sort of blow through these maps and clear everything as quickly as possible. Whereas with VAAL Wins, you need to be doing the exact opposite. So what is VAAL Wins? VAAL Wins is a prophecy, much like all of the other Tempest prophecies, and basically what it is that when it procs, it adds these little circles that appear on the ground while you're mapping, and when you step into them for the next 5 seconds after they go off, everything you drop will drop corrupted. This is a big deal because, in case you guys haven't messed around with VAAL orbs and items, when you corrupt something, there's a pretty significant chance that you either 6-socket or 6-link it. 6 sockets will always vendor for 7 jewelers, which is worth almost a chaos, and 6 links will always vendor for 1 divine orb. So if you haven't really realized where I'm going with this, basically the whole process of running VAAL Wins involves stepping into these red circles on the ground, waiting for them to go off, and then absolutely murdering everything and anything in front of you for the next 5 seconds straight. If you want to try this out, really I have good news for you. It's very easy to do so right now. All you need to do is one, go buy the prophecy from another player. It's around 3 to 4 chaos right now, which is an absolute steal. Use it so you add it to your own prophecies. Make sure you don't have any other conflicting prophecies up. I don't know 100% which prophecies can roll over it, but to play it safe, I try not to have any other prophecies active. Then you go into a map, around a 50% chance for it to proc. If it procs, you go to town. One thing that you really need to remember is that VAAL Winds scales directly with all of the juice you put onto your map. And this could be kind of a double-edged sword because sometimes you'll juice a map very hard in anticipation of having a very juicy interaction with VAAL Winds, but then that 50-50 shot, and I don't know if it's actually 50%, but that's around what it feels like, the chances of VAAL Wind proccing doesn't go in your favor, it doesn't proc, and then next thing you know, you have this really juiced up map and no crazy prophecy to drop on top of it. That being said, if you are willing to gamble a little bit, I definitely recommend running all of your maps at least 100 plus quantity and try to get as much other juice on there as possible. I'm talking maybe rolling Double Beyond, Monstrous Treasure if you're willing to invest that deep, Scarabs that add additional mobs to your map, Sextants that add even more mobs to your map. There's so much stuff you can do with VAAL Winds, and at the end of the day, the more items that you can get dropping while you're killing everything is really going to translate to more 6 sockets, more 6 links. Really, the only drawback is once you proc a VAAL Winds on a map with crazy quant, you just have to be careful about what you pick up, because at the end of the day, 6 sockets and 6 links will take up a huge portion of your inventory, so you have to be careful about how many trips you want to make back, and you definitely never want to die on a VAAL Winds map because every single inventory spot is precious. But at the end of the day, this is all well and good, but there really is only one reason why I'm talking about VAAL Winds right now when it's such an old, traditional, tried and true moneymaker, and that is because the prophecy is literally only like 3 or 4 chaos right now, which makes it so that you don't have to worry so much about juicing. You should juice anyway if you want to get the most out of it, but it's so easy to make that 3C drop. All you need to do is just get a couple of 6 sockets, maybe even a 6 link, and you've already made that back. If you go just a little bit harder, you juice your map just a bit more, maybe you use an ambush Scarab, you start getting, 3, 4, 5, 6 link. You start having to make multiple trips because you're getting so many divine orbs. That's 3C chaos looks like an absolute drop in the hat compared to the crazy amount of currency you can make from VAAL Winds. So long story short, the cost to profit ratio on VAAL Winds is absurdly good right now. Just put in a little bit of work, juice your maps, and trust me, you will make your money back tenfold. Actually, a lot more than tenfold, because tenfold wouldn't be that good for 3C, but trust me, VAAL Winds is great right now. It's in a good spot. Buy it before they get expensive. The next method that I have for you today is linking 28% items. This is exactly what it sounds like. Basically, you take items, you quality them to 28%, and then you link them and resell them. The requirements for doing this are really just 2 things. One, you have to have a safety net of currency, and that's because linking at the end of the day is more or less gambling. Even though the house is actually stacked for you this time, like you are going to win out in the long run, there are some chances that you're going to just have to spend way too much linking one item and you're going to need to recover. So honestly, if you have around 5 to 10x of recovery currency, you're probably fine. Statistically, you can start doing this at like 3 or 4 exalts, but I just think having a little bit of backup currency in case you get unlucky is important. Secondly, you need to have a decently well put together syndicate, or at least a good understanding of how to put together a syndicate, because I'm going to tell you, you need to put a specific member in a specific spot, and if you don't know how to already do that, well, that would make this guide, much longer than I have time for today. So to get started here, let me talk about 2 important factors that make this strategy even viable at all. First of all, if you don't know this, syncs linking items is much cheaper on items with more quality. The exact numbers, and these are pulled from a test that was done about a year ago by Slippery Jim 8 here on YouTube, and it is that 1,500 fusings is the average cost for a 0 quality item, and 900 fusings is the average cost for a 30% quality item. We're going to be linking items at 28% quality, so if I had to guess, the average cost is probably around 950 to 1,000 fusings, but point is, it is significantly cheaper than a 0 quality or even a 20% quality item. Socketing is also a bit cheaper. It's around 150 for 0 quality versus 50 jewelers at 30% quality. The second important thing to know for this is that using rank 3 Hillick inside of your syndicate will allow you to increase the quality of any weapon or armor to 28%, even unique items. This depends on what branch you put him in. Transportation will let you quality weapons, and fortification will let you quality armor. It is absolutely key to realize he has to be rank 3 though. If you put him at rank 2, you'll only be getting 26% items, and if you put him at rank 1, you'll only be getting 24% items. So you have to have him at rank 3, and you have to have him in either transportation or fortification, depending on whether or not you want weapons or armor. At its most basic level, this is already super easy to profit from. All you really need to do is go onto PoE.Ninja, look at the items on the left side of screen, say, hey, wow, people are using Geoffrey's Sanctuary. You go, you buy one of these up, rolls don't even matter, you quality up to 28%, you link it, you resell. High chances are you probably just made somewhere between 50 Chaos and Exalt for what is, at the end of the day, if you have a properly set up syndicate, only like 15 to 30 minutes worth of effort. However, if you want to take this a step further, and that's what I'm doing in this background footage here, you can put in the legwork to research items that, one, benefit from having a good quality stat on them, and two, have very good rolls that can make a difference in terms of how much profit you make. The big example I have here is Chevron's Wrapping. Chevron's Wrappings is an ES item, which means it benefits heavily from quality. Usually we're talking physical DPS items or big evasion or big energy shield items when it comes to quality, and then also has a very large range in rolls that really matter. That is, the increased energy shield local roll can either be 100% all the way up to 150%. In this example here, I bought an absolutely perfect roll in that regard. That was 150% increased energy shield. I qualityed it to 28%. And then I linked it. This cost me all of, I want to say 10x, or sorry, not 10x, 1,000 fusings more or less, because I did have to spend a little bit more on socketing it. I got a little bit unlucky, but at the end of the day, I think I spent 5 to 6x buying and linking this item. And then according to the market right now on PoE.Trade, I should be able to resell this for a very easy 8 to 9 exalts. Some other good examples might be something like Starforge, Queen of the Forest, Hiri's Ire. Like I said, really anything that can benefit heavily from that 28% quality stat, as well as something that just has a wide range of rolls, so you can try to buy the absolute best rolls possible. It's also important to understand that even though getting unlucky is definitely a thing and definitely a danger of this, you will basically always make money in the long run, because that's just how probability works out. Unlucky streaks will happen, but that's what the currency fallback is for, so make sure you have a little bit there so you can afford to get a little bit unlucky as you try to make your money back. If you end up losing all your money and going broke, it's not my fault, but trust me, statistically, this is a money maker in the long run. Also, I want to throw in, if you really want to meme around, once you get your absolute perfect item at the end of the day, you can take it into the Temple of Atzawadal and try to get a crazy double corrupt on it. I'm probably going to do that with this Shavs. That might be fun. I don't know. I'm just doing a voiceover, and I actually don't even know what footage is going to be featured. I could be breaking his Shavs right now. It might be really funny. Or maybe I just made a very expensive item. Who knows? Either way, that's a fun little last step you could do if you really just want to go hard or go home. The last method that I have for you today is Enchanted Helm Fossil Crafting. The good news about this method is that the requirements are basically none. None meaning as long as you have the initial requirements that I talked about at the beginning of the video in the form of just maybe a few chaos or a few exalts laying around to invest. So the crux of this moneymaker is you're basically taking a look at popular helm enchants on PoE.Ninja, trying to buy them on decent bases, and then fossil crafting them just a little bit to make them slightly more appealing, slapping a premium price tag on them, and taking home some easy chaos. There's a couple ways you can go about this, but I think the very best way is to start with PoE.Ninja, looking at the helm enchant section and finding the most desirable enchants. Next up, go onto your trade side of choice and just buy up a couple of these enchants. I think it's really important to be a little bit diverse in what you choose, so don't just put all your money in on something like Ice Nova damage. Try to spread out a little bit and pick a couple of different enchants that you think will probably sell and at least deal some kind of elemental, chaos, or physical damage. Chances are it will do that because, you know, that's how Path of Exile works, but just try to diversify and buy a couple of decent bases with enchants that are fairly popular. Do be careful though, because for popular enchants, there will always be mirrored bases per sale, and if you buy an item that is mirrored, you will not be able to craft on it anymore, and you can't really make money off this method if you can't craft on the items that you buy. So the next step is really the entire step in the entire process, and that is to buy a relevant fossil and just do a single one socket resonator and slap it on there and try to hit the -% resistance mod of that respective helm enchant. So for example, if you were crafting Ice Nova, you would want to use a frigid fossil to try to hit that -9% cold resistance. If you were doing double strike, you would use a jagged fossil to try to hit that -9% physical resistance. There's really an endless amount of options here, but all you really need to do is hit that resistance mod, ideally with an open prefix. So the example that I have for you in regards to this method is actually the helm that I'm using right now for my Pyroclast build. I'm not going to be reselling this because that's not really something I want to do, but I can just tell you the process that I spent on crafting this. I spent about 50 chaos on the base. I spent, I think, like 4 scorch fossils on it. So that would be 4 scorch fossils and 4 resonators. That's probably like 8 or 10 chaos. And now it's worth around 1x if you ignore the focus mod, which is obviously not fair at all. That's just something that I needed for my specific build. Point is, it's very easy to spend a very small amount and make a significant amount. All you need to do is put in the time and research on PoE.ninja to see what helm enchants are actually worth something. Anyway, guys, those are my 4 big methods of mid-level currency makers I have for you today. I'm sorry this isn't the most intensely planned out video. I'm not feeling super well today, but it is what it is. I hope you guys enjoyed it. My name's Nathan, and I'll see you guys soon.
Thank you!
Really quick, I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters: Real Human, Zikrak, Squally, Zoljan, Coda, Julia, Allen, Kepler, Sparky, Catafusk, Putzak, Kaiser, 801, Kyle, Logan, Ice Dude, Ginzik, Anonymous, Orangina, and Marius. Welcome so much to the team. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for supporting me. Really means a lot. If anyone else is interested in hanging out in this awesome page of people who support me, you can check me out at patreon.com/NathanBrotherBob. Or if you have a Twitch Prime hanging around, or you just want to, watch me, I'm live every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 2 p.m. Central Time at twitch.tv/NathanBrotherBob. Thank you guys so much. Oh, yeah, I should probably mention my Discord. Sorry. I mean, thanks, too. I do like saying thank you. You guys probably noticed that by now. But I also have my Discord in the bottom right-hand corner if you need to contact me directly or hang out with some cool folks who also love Path of Exile probably more than I do. Actually, just about. I really like PoE. This is a good game. It is a real good game. Trust me. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.